Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be day number 5 for my vegan challenge week, so let's go ahead and jump straight into it. For breakfast, I decided to make some overnight blueberry banana oats, and I did make a peanut butter banana version of this in one of my previous videos, and that was really good, but I just wanted to switch it up a little bit. So as you can see, I'm just adding in some rolled oats into a small mason jar. Then next I'm adding in some of this Califia unsweetened vanilla almond milk. I add about equal parts almond milk to rolled oats. And then this time I'm also adding in chia seeds into the actual oatmeal itself, that way it mixes all together. I'm also adding in some of this unsweetened vanilla coconut milk just for a little variety of flavor. And then I'm also adding in about a teaspoon of brown sugar for some added sweetness. Next I'm adding in a few blueberries as well as some sliced banana. So now it is ready to add a lid on top and to stick it into the fridge overnight, so we will see it again in the morning. And here are what the oats look like the next morning. And I really liked adding the chia seeds in here along with the oatmeal because it kind of gave it like a chia pudding / oatmeal texture. And for coffee, I went with this Califia lightly sweetened pure black cold brew coffee. And that is pretty much it for breakfast. I really love the texture of overnight oats. They're very creamy, and especially with the chia seeds in this one, it has a little bit of a chewy texture in there as well. And the sweetness of this is a little bit lighter than the peanut butter banana one, so if you're not much of a sugary type of person, I really recommend this version. Later on, I decided to make a banana, walnut, and date smoothie. And so the first thing I'm doing is adding in some banana, about 1 banana. And then I also have some roughly chopped up dates. These have been boiled in water for about 20 minutes just to soften them up so they're easier to blend. And then I'm also adding in some chopped walnuts. And for liquid ingredients, I'm using a combination of this unsweetened vanilla almond milk as well as coconut water. And finally, I'm adding in a scoop of this Veggie vanilla protein powder, and this is a plant-based protein powder. I also added in some crushed ice, and now I'm going to go ahead and blend it right up. And here is the finished smoothie. This was just kind of like a mid-morning snack for me, but I love how icy and thick it came out, and I love the combination of flavors between the walnut, the banana, and the dates. It's so delicious. You absolutely have to try this one. Later on for lunch, I just went with another hummus, veggie, cracker, and fruit plate. I already shared this exact type of lunch in one of my previous videos, but I am having it again. And it's pretty simple and straightforward. It's just some of these Mary Gone crackers, which are really good. These are gluten-free and vegan, as well as some of that jalapeno hummus, some peppers, some grapes, and then a side of ice water with lemon. Later on for dinner, I decided to make portobello mushroom steaks with a rosemary sweet potato mash. And the first thing that I am doing is taking out these mushrooms. These are just giant portobello mushrooms, and I am removing the gills with a spoon. And I'm doing this because I read that if you leave the gills in, that the flavor will come out a little bit muddy or kind of grassy or like earthy tasting. So that's why I'm removing them. That way it doesn't disrupt the flavor. Next, I'm creating a marinade for the steaks, and I kind of looked up a bunch of different recipes for this, so there's no one recipe that I chose. It's just a combination of different things that I liked. And so I added in some olive oil. Next, I'm adding in some dried Italian seasoning. And then I'm also adding in a couple teaspoons of minced garlic. I love garlic, so that's why I added a lot. And then I'm just taking each one of the steaks or portobello mushroom caps one at a time and just kind of soaking it in that mixture. And then I'm seasoning the portobello mushrooms with salt and pepper, and I'm just letting them sit for about 15 minutes just to continue absorbing that olive oil. For my sweet potato mash, I started off with 2 sweet potatoes, which I drizzled with olive oil and pierced with a fork. Now, you should pierce these with a fork before you put the olive oil on because obviously they're gonna slip all over the place, but my mistake, I did it backwards. So yeah, I'm just piercing it with a fork now, and then I'm also seasoning it with some salt and pepper. And then I roasted the sweet potatoes at 400 degrees for about an hour. Okay, so now that the sweet potatoes are done roasting, we can start slicing them up and taking out all the goodness in the center. And just look at how beautiful and delicious that looks. Can anyone ever say anything bad about sweet potatoes? Like, I can't think of a single bad thing about these. They're so good. And so now I'm just scooping them into a bowl. That way we can get started on our mash. And then I also tore up some of the sweet potato skin and threw it in there as well, just for some added texture and flavor. And then I'm adding in a little bit of salt, pepper, and then finally our chopped up rosemary. And this recipe is super simple. I'm pretty much just mashing everything up with a fork. I think I moved on to like a pastry cutter at one point just to help mash it up, but you can easily accomplish the same thing just with a regular fork. Getting back to the portobello mushroom steaks, I'm adding some of this Earth Balance vegan butter to a pan. Next, I'm adding in some soy sauce. Next, I'm adding in some balsamic vinegar. And then I'm also adding in some chopped onion in there as well and letting that cook for a few minutes. I really like the flavor that this adds to the mushroom steaks. I feel like it definitely gives it more of a steak-like type of flavor. And once the onions cooked down a little bit, I went ahead and finally added in my portobello mushrooms. And I just put a lid over top and let that sit for about 3 to 4 minutes before flipping them. And then once I flip those over, I let them continue to cook for just another few minutes. And here is the finished result. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous about making this in the beginning because I wasn't sure how it was gonna taste, but these turned out so good. I was so pleasantly surprised. The portobello mushroom steaks were really flavorful and savory, and I loved it in combination with the sweet potato mash because the sweet potato is a little bit sweet, plus it has that super fragrant rosemary in there, so the combination of flavors just complemented each other really, really nicely. And then I also added on some sauteed kale on the side since I had some left over. And that is everything that I had for day number 5. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy these recipes, please be sure to give this video a like. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day number 6. Bye.